expected to have over 35,000 people this weekend. And from other countries, we got from Nigeria, I know, some up in North Africa, and then I do know that some people do come from Zambia, Zimbabwe, those sorts of places. It's not a lot, but we do have those guests. We have a RGB Gaming here, and they are running a Minecraft tournament this weekend, where we've got, I think, 10 or 15 schools, maybe more, that are sending kids here with their teachers to participate in a Minecraft competition. So, I mean, that's probably the most incredible thing you could say in a sentence if you're talking about esports and the growth in education. So I think it's fantastic that all these schools are getting involved and making esports a thing in their curriculum, and the teachers are involved. So that's all just a fantastic job that we're seeing there.
Hi, my name is Selorm from Esports Africa News here in Johannesburg, covering the Rage Expo. This is day 2, and I'm here with Yako from RGB. Very big setup happening right now. There's the retail, there's the VR, the competitions happening as well. Jaco, please tell us a bit about RGB and your setup here.
Yeah, so I mean, RGB Gaming here for the first time at Rage. Actually, we've never done Rage before. So for us, definitely an experience. It's been absolutely amazing. The crowd has been wonderful. We've had gamers come out from school level. Yesterday we had the primary schools, 15 primary schools competing for a nice tournament. Today we had the high schools coming out. Like you said, we have the VR here. Then there's, I mean, the people on the recording won't be able to see it, but there's a massive queue at the VR.
There is actually. I can't comment that.
so definitely the VR making a bit of a splash. But yeah, I mean, like I said, first time at Rage, and we're really having some nice fun.
Awesome, yes. One of the key things I've noticed since being here has been that there's a lot of school involvement with RGB Gaming. Tell me what's the premise behind that? What's your passion behind that?
Yeah, so look, I mean, from our perspective, what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to promote esports as a viable activity. Especially for children at school, to build a certain skill level that might not otherwise be able to be acquired by something else. So that's the first premise. The second premise is, in any school you have a huge amount of children that are not involved in activities within the school because there's not necessarily a place for them to fit, right? You have kids that are playing sport, and you have kids that are involved in some other activities, but there are always kids that are not involved in a specific area in school, and this obviously gives them another opportunity to do so. The third reason for us doing it is, if you think about the workplace today, it's becoming more and more technologically driven. So what we're also trying to do is to ensure that kids have the basic skills to be able to not have that environment overwhelm them, when they have to enter the workplace. So it's really about getting kids ready for 21st century skills, teaching them a little bit about 4-hour learning. I mean, we have some great sponsors, which I have to call out. You can see them here at the back as well. But Microsoft for us is a great partner. And Microsoft specifically with Minecraft Education Edition, and especially in the primary school area, has really come to the party to help us build esports in that sort of primary school level environment. Of course, we are involved with high schools as well as universities, but things are really progressing through the education industry and in understanding that gaming has a place in education as well.
Definitely. And I was here yesterday, and I've been here today. Yesterday you had primary school kids around in several competitions. Today you had an open play with Minecraft as well, and then the high school competition as well. Tell me about these competitions. How does they engage the children? What is for them, I would say, the goal in participating in these things?
Yeah, so look, what we try and do whenever we have tournaments is we as an organization, we try and steer away from huge cash prizes to drive the incentive. So we focus very much on how do we reward the kids for a tournament through trophies, medals, peripherals, keyboards, mouses, headsets, equipment that they can actually use to continue the sport and grow the game, instead of doing massive prizes. Now, you would think that would be at a lower cost, which it's not really. I mean, the peripherals that we gave away yesterday, for example, as a first prize, were probably to the tune of between 40 and 50,000 rand, which is a decent amount for a first prize for a team. Of course, from that perspective, again, we have great partners. I mean, we have RTC on board, Rectron on board, which is one of our distribution partners, and they ensure that we can enrich the kids with things that is not necessarily money. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with big tournaments that have cash prizes,
Yeah.
but specifically with schools, we try and steer away from that to build the culture around. Be proud of what you are doing, and you are getting a nice prize for it as well.
Yeah, awesome. So before I let you go, just to wrap up, how do you? First off, do you see yourself expanding into, say, other African countries? And then, secondly, what would be the connection, for example, in schools or in countries that do not have perhaps a deep penetration of either laptops or technology? How do you see esports penetrating in those countries, and how it benefits? What would be the case, I would say, what would be the case we make to such schools and such countries that, listen, we need to bring esports into the schools?
So look, to answer your first question, absolutely. We are looking at next year actually expanding into our first African country.
Hopefully Ghana.
So Ghana's on the cards. I'm meeting some nice people, and there's some plans in place for us to be able to expand into Africa, and we are talking to a lot of people. The reality, though, is that not only in Africa, and I think this is actually a global phenomenon, but in Africa specifically, you need people and partners who understand what you want to achieve, and you need people to be able to say, look, we'll put our hand up, we want to be part of growing this, and not only growing the industry, but also growing the culture of having esports be a skill-based activity, right? It's not just about playing games, right?
No.
It's about learning, it's about education, it's about obtaining certain basic skills that is required. So you really need partners to do that, and that would be my advice for anyone, right, who wants to endeavor into this industry, is find like-minded people. Find people that think the same way about these things than what you perhaps do, because there's power in numbers, especially if we are at a point where we want to build the industry to what it is going to be, and it is going to be massive. I mean, we've seen a massive influx of esports and esports activity and business interest into esports over the last probably 6 to 12 months.
Awesome.
Maybe 18 months ago it really started, it kicked off. And a big thing as well is if you think about something like esports just being announced as a Olympic sport,
Yep.
Activities like that do change people's minds or perception about it just being gaming versus this is something that kids are really getting involved in as either an extramural or a skill building activity, right?
Right, awesome. We look forward for the expansion. We at Esports Africa News will be more than happy to go along with you on the journey to promote, share your information, share your news, share your successes as well, and also keep track of your competitions and just give you the highlight that you deserve. Thank you so much, Jaco.
Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.